Flush with Mars over here at the network. Let's talk about what we came here to talk about
Oh,
today.
all right. So KVC is over. Beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful
we didn't
thing.
come here to talk about Blue Chew and how it changed Bobby's life.
Changed my life. You know, Earth, Wind, and Fire changed my life, not Blue Chew.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I
Kanye,
don't know what to do with
Drake.
that.
Obas will tell you.
I'm sure he would.
Kanye, Drake. So let me give people the lead up. We have 4, 5, 6 years of beef between these two. Hip hop's Cold War. I kind of gave the preview of this little standoff that they were going to have on the same day, seemingly, when Drake announced it through the Sports Center ad. Kanye moved the iTunes date that he kept pushing back right to the Drake date, right? That's how it went, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought we were going to have this all-time release day. Two of the biggest hip-hop artists ever going head-to-head on the same day. I don't think the sales battle was going to be all that interesting, and you'll probably hit on that a little bit later, Nate, but just in terms of how people were reacting to it, what people were listening to first, all that different kind of stuff. I was so excited for that possibility, but I also knew it wasn't going to happen. And what ended up...
Oh, did you release Kanye's album on Sunday? Is that what you want to tell the public?
So
right
yeah,
now?
we get a Sunday morning release. I'm just getting
So
up
he
because I
did.
don't wake up till like 10. And you guys are already texting about it. And like after all this stadium action and the iTunes date and this and that, the grand rollout that Kanye had, which I didn't like. You know, I didn't like all the changes. I didn't like all the like turmoil during that release. How just rough around the edges it was. And then, of course, the fact that you had to either pay the money or shell out the Apple Music membership or do whatever you need to do to listen to it. People were just kind of caught in the cycle. I just didn't like it. It obviously was a good moneymaker for him. I won't knock Kanye's ability to drum up anticipation for his album, but like no one else is going to be able to do that. Like at some point, I just get bored of it. Like I listened to the second one with you guys when we were texting back and forth there. And then ultimately it just leads up to this Sunday dump, which I guess wasn't him. But the Kanye rollout didn't excite me all that much. And then, you know, as him and Drake were going back and forth, he released Drake's address, right? You know, had some cover ideas and ultimately just landed on a black cover. And then instead of kind of condensing this album down, we heard a lot of tracks, a lot of versions throughout the preview. We basically just got a track dump, version 2s, and this like 3-hour long jumbled, I won't say mess because there was some flow and theme to it. Yeah, you're pushing 3 hours,
No, it
2.5.
wasn't. It was an hour. It was an hour 48.
Kanye's?
Yes.
Correct.
No,
and Drake's was
wasn't.
an hour and 36 or something like that, or an hour and 28, something around that ballpark.
Let me check this Donda length right here.
No, I can tell you.
98 minutes.
No way, Bobby said it was 3 hours.
Yeah,
that's an
he
hour.
thought it was the Chris Brown album from 2 years ago.
All right, fair enough. Still long though, and still
Let's get these fact checks. Let's get these fact checks correct.
A lot of tracks that I didn't think needed to be in here. God Breathed went on forever. I don't like Okay. I know you guys do. Just a lot of the stuff here on the first half of this album I didn't like. Off the Grid wasn't that great. Jail, like that track. I thought it was a good like intro after the real intro there, but still went on a little too long at 5 minutes. And you even had an 11-minute track in here, didn't you, at some point? Or an 8-minute, rather. So
no, you had 11 and 8. It was the same song remixed.
Yeah. Oh, that one was good, though. That one, surprisingly, Jesus Lord, believe it or not. Besides, we'll talk about the Larry Hoover outro.
Trump should have freed Larry.
Just a jumbled mess of statements here. Too long, too much dead weight. And this goes back to this thing with Kanye for me, that like he used to just have like a perfectionist approach to it. Like everything would sound polished, everything would seem to be in the right place. You'd have the best tracks. There wouldn't be too much skips throughout his albums early on in his career. And this is an album that I'll just never be able to play through, which I like doing. You know, like I'm just kind of bouncing around between these songs.
I kind of disagree with that a little bit. I think the one thing that people are missing with this whole Kanye release is the fact that he himself didn't release the album on Sunday. It was supposed to come out on the same day that Drake's album did. So
but can he go back and fix it?
I mean, but at the same time, people are already getting their first listens and people are already drawing their first impressions of it. So it's essentially ruined. So you could go back and fix something as much as you want, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to get that first impression back. So us knowing how Kanye is someone who likes to work up to the last minute and will push things back because he doesn't think things are perfect, and seeing how essentially 5 days got robbed from him, we don't know what changes he would have made in those 5 days. We don't know what alterations he would have made.
But he had like
but you have to give him the
months.
But you have to give him the. But you saw from the first listening event to the third one, how the album progressed. So it's clear that he's still working on it. He literally rented out Mercedes-Benz Stadium to keep working on the album and gave us a live stream showing us how he was working on the album. So it's clear that he was working on the album. So I think while listening to Donda, yes, it might be too long. Yes, it could have been more polished. But at the same time, he deserves the benefit of the doubt when the fact of the matter is that Universal chose to release it because they wanted numbers versus Kanye actually having the 5 extra days to do whatever he wanted to do to the album. I think he deserves that benefit of the doubt.
Lindo, what do you feel about this rollout? I did love the what's the Atlanta MLS team there? They were playing, right? And you get the photo of the whole field, and Kanye's like up at the very top looking down. I laughed at that. That was fun. That was my favorite part of the Kanye rollout.
Look, for a guy who's as dramatic as you, I don't know how you don't love the dramatics of this whole thing. The 3 different listening parties. The second one was the best. I don't get how you don't love it. I mean, it's superstardom at its finest. Continuing this beef with Drake, which has no, I don't know what the end goal is. I have no idea what he was doing. I still remember when Kanye said, if I get killed, it was Drake who did it. He deleted that tweet. So, look, I appreciate it. I love Kanye. I didn't like Donda on the first go-round. I like it a lot more on the second and now third. Better than CLB. Neither one is going to be iconic. They'll both get played for a little while, and then we'll.
You didn't feel that way last week, did you?
I thought CLB was better than Donda when I first heard them.
CLB is not even in the same ballpark as Donda.
I think that they're both about 6s or 7s. They're good enough. Nothing that I'll go back to and be like, wow. Remember when Donda and CLB came out?
So here's the thing.
Before I start even talking about this, let me disclose to the audience that I'm not a Kanye stan at all, because apparently you can't criticize Drake in these days and times without being a stan of Kanye. And yeah, I just want to say that because all the Drake stans are going to be all like, well, you like Kanye, right? And it's like, no, I could just see the difference in good music and what actually care looks like.
All right, so here's something we're all going to agree on, I think, is that these 2 projects did not deserve the oxygen that like these 2 ate up for a month here and just took all attention from other projects, other artists, everything going on in the music world to release. Let's say Kanye was a 7 and Drake was a 6.5. That's basically where we stand with these 2 albums in my mind. Just solid projects. They had a lot of money, a lot of resources, and Lord knows they had features carrying them through. Like these 2 got the best of the best when it came to features and got outshined front to back by all of them on these 2 projects here, which was interesting in that a lot of the same people showed up on these 2 albums and did their thing. Kid Cudi, Lil Baby, who else?
You're missing a big name.
Projects? Jay-Z.
There we go.
You had who else was on both of these?
Dirk.
Derek. Yeah, Lil Durk.
Yeah, just some awesome performances between the 2 of these projects. And that basically carried both of these ones. I would think it was the saving grace on both of these is that you had some really talented people. Jay Electronica's feature on Donda was phenomenal. I like Jay-Z's on Jail. I know. I wish Nemo was here. He's got all the stuff he's saying. I want to hash it out with him. But The Weeknd was phenomenal on Kanye's. You obviously had quite a bit of chorus action going on there too. Of course, Young Thug glued together Remote Control, which was missing Cudi dearly. But I'll just let that one slide. I know you probably like Playboy on Junior, Nate.
It was the best he sounded in a year.
Did Kanye really have to do the Pop Smoke thing?
Well, the thing behind that is that Pop Smoke always really wanted to work with Kanye, and I guess that's all they got out of whatever
their sessions.
Yeah, whatever session. So I didn't like it, but I understand that if Pop Smoke was still alive, we would have got something amazing, and we probably would have got something that would have been on the same level as 504 and on. Was 504 and on Off the Grid? Yeah, like it would probably have been on the same level, and Pop Smoke probably would have been on that song. If
All right, Nate, Lindo, you talked a lot about the Fabio verse. What was so great about it?
Did he
Because
listen
that was
to it?
blowing everybody away.
Did
No,
you-
I just
did
want to
you
know
listen
what
to it?
I just want to know what you.
But I'm
thought.
asking you, did you listen to it?
Yes.
No. Nate, Bobby, did you listen to it?
Yeah, I wasn't
Then
blown
then you
away
know.
the same way you were.
This is why white people don't, get to discuss this. It was incredible.
All right, Lindo, we'll go on your podcast next time.
It was the verse. Come on my program. It's the Blue Chew podcast. No, it was incredible. I mean, the guy showed out, and
it's considering the clips, together a good verse.
Considering the clips that we see of 5EO on the timeline, this is a billion times better. Yes. What an improvement!
If he somehow figures out how to drop an album like this, I'm a 5EO Foreign fan.
Roddy Ricch sounded outstanding on Pure Souls. I'm really becoming a big fan of him. He's got great energy in verses and hooks.
What do you mean becoming? He hasn't released something deep.
I know, but there's the more and more I hear, even his old stuff now, which isn't even that old.
He's teasing a new album. He put it on his Instagram Live today.
I'm excited for that. That's one of the newer artists that I'm really into, even though I'm not into a ton of them. What else we got here? Griselda on Keep My Spirit Alive.
Good verses. Good verses. Those are good verses. I appreciated those verses. I think, was it Conway and Westside? Yeah. That's probably the best Westside Gunn verse I've ever heard.
Thank God.
I don't really like Westside Gunn that much, but that verse right there, I'll reckon. The thing about me is that if I don't like something, if I don't like an artist, I don't like them. But if they do something that's good, I'll give them credit. Westside Gunn, you did your thing on that. Conway did his thing as well. I think Benny probably would have been nice on it. They had one more
verse
person
was
on
phenomenal. Quietly one of the best verses on the whole project. I thought.
It was short too. It was short and sweet.
It was
very
simple.
Heartfelt. Didn't try to do too much. Perfect.
I thought both of them really stuck to like the theme and like the like sentiment of the album there too. Obviously the religion and like family and life and all that kind of stuff. That was one of my favorite tracks on here. I do want to go back to Remote Control and Moon, of course, is my favorite song on here. Like the way
Cudi buys.
I just love the way, and this is my favorite
Cudi
thing
buys.
about Kanye. Even as I've grown more disillusioned with him over the years, he'll clear the runway for Cudi. He'll let Cudi do his thing, have his shine, and give him the platform to do it. And man, did he on Moon. But he should have kept them on Remote Control. Because I love Remote Control. Phenomenal beat, that whistling. I just love that track. And Young Thug obviously glued Kanye and Cudi together great on the first version. But now Young Thug just kind of fades into oblivion, and then you jump into Moon. And maybe he cut it because you didn't want Cudi going for like 5-6 straight minutes on the album. But you had Don Toliver in there splitting up that track a little bit pretty well there. So I think that would have fit together seamless. I was so bummed Cudi got cut from Remote Control, and it really prevented it from being maybe the best track on the album in my mind.
It's not, Jenya.
All
Playboy
right.
Cardi returning to Die Lit Playboy Cardi instead of that whatever Whole Lot of Red was. Beautiful time.
Did you like Remote Control Moon, Linda?
Yeah. The Cudi doesn't do it for me, you know that.
The 24 interlude to all that too was good. That's like a strong stretch on the album there. Believe What I Say, I didn't like as much as other people did. You know how I feel about samples. If Taylor was here, he remembers when I just like shook my head at the Superman sample that Drake did on the demo tape. Because like, why are you sampling? And again, that's Superman by Eminem, a song that if you're younger, you probably don't know. Even younger people probably know that Lauryn Hill song. Like the refrain.
Oh, yeah.
Like that song's popular, this Kanye song, because of the Lauryn Hill song and how popular that is. Kanye's performance on it was pretty bad. It's probably some of his worst singing on the whole album. The beat's cool. It's chopped up. It's got like a little like bounce to it, but I don't know. Like you're gonna sample. That's not like the spirit of sampling to me. Sampling the most popular Lauryn Hill song on the one of the most popular like R&B albums of the last decade or 2 decades ago, whatever that album came out now. Like that, was that the most popular song on this album? Maybe that or the Weeknd one?
The most popular song?
Probably Jail.
Really?
I mean,
I'd say it was probably the Weeknd one.
I'd say it's Hurricane.
What are
Yeah.
the
I'd say
streams
it's
look like?
Hurricane.
I think you might be right about Jail in terms of streams, which is surprising. But Hurricane's got to be right up there with it.
I'm checking the
Going off
streams.
Apple, yeah.
I'm going on Spotify. Jail has 43 million. Off the Grid has 47 million. Yeah, no, Hurricane has 70 million by far.
Yeah,
It's by far
Hurricane's
the
number
biggest.
one on Apple too.
Moon has
Moon coming
41
in
million.
3. Yeah, that's a good song. I'm not even using Cuddy bias there. His singing was great. Don Toliver, who I'm not a huge fan of,
Bobby, you have to realize that you've just lost all credibility when it comes to Kid Cudi because everything he does, you love.
Fair enough. So that's Kanye or Kanye's album.
I mean, I also think that the one thing about Donda that's impressive to me is that
New Again. Can we talk about New Again?
Let's talk about it.
New Again. Who was on it? I don't remember.
It was the Graduation style track. It kind of sounded like Flashing Lights.
Sing it for us, Bobby.
Make me new again. Make me new again. This time. What is it? I don't forget it.
It actually sounds familiar now.
Yeah.
That was beautiful singing, Bobby. You should go on tour.
That was a great track. It brought you back to Graduation. They're honestly like, if I'm looking up and down this track list, obviously God Breathe was kind of like Yeezus-esque with like the long outro over there and just like the like spaciness of it and how like rough it was. And you obviously had a track like New Again, which was Graduation style. You had like the choruses of Life of Pablo. And then the Sunday Service Choir was on here. So you touched like a little bit of Kanye's whole discography here. I'd say even Jesus Lord kind of brought you back to like a college dropout-esque Kanye. Yeah. So that was one thing I liked about this.
This is the best case scenario for clean hip-hop. This is the best clean hip-hop album of all time.
Really?
Yeah. Like there was no, like he censored all the curses and stuff. Like this is literally the only time I'm going to be able to listen to music that's censored. Like the only time.
Yeah. Period. Why did he do that?
Because he's on that evangelical, God-fearing music. I mean, you see Jesus is King and everything like that. This is a continuation of that. Like most of the melodies behind the songs are gospel-esque. I think that the execution of that and still making tracks where you can have a drill feel like Off the Grid, you could have something that Playboi Carti could be on. Look at all the artists and the different styles that he incorporated on these beats that primarily have gospel melodies. It's impressive.
The production's really good on here.
And he had a lot of
on his album talking about people shooting and killing, but they couldn't curse.
Yeah, I mean, it's a start. It's the best. It's literally the closest I'm gonna get.
I have no commentary whatsoever on Kanye's religious convictions or like how faithful he is to his. I saw a lot of people talking about that. I don't care about that at all, and I don't think that's that important. But the swearing thing, like, first of all, you're one of the most crude guys ever. Like, 2 albums ago, you were talking about like bleached asshole, and now you can't swear. And like he's got this line on here too about like don't be swearing in text or something like that. Like that's just stupid to me. Like it's inauthentic. Like that's something Drake would do to me. Like just,
I don't think it's inauthentic. I mean, it's so clear when you look at everything that he's done that he really believes. Like he's really a super religious guy now. And
no, just the swearing thing. I don't have any. Like, yeah, I saw a lot of people.
Well, like super religious people don't like to swear in the first place.
It's true.
Like he's really on brand with this new lease on life, I guess, that he's found. And that's why I think the album's great. He took that and he still made it something that regular hip-hop fans who maybe are not as religious could still listen to, but at the same time still sticking to his religious ideals. I think that the album is amazing. I think that when you apply context to it and everything that surrounds it, there's not really much he could have done to make it better.
Condense it a little bit. This is what I said.
He might have, but he had 5 days robbed from him.
True.
But this is what I said all along from like the first time I ever heard it. It's so close to being a really good album. If you condensed it, if you had better flow between it, if it kind of progressed and really had more commentary on his mom. I thought that was a criticism that I really thought was valid. Like, you have this whole album about your mom, and there was maybe like one track dedicated to her. That was kind of weird, but it is very close to being good because there's a lot of strong tracks on here, especially on the second half. Second half's very enjoyable to me. The part twos was interesting.
Mhm.
And of course, the Marilyn Manson the baby thing, I thought was just like the most
That was weird.
shameful like commentary on here that he had to bring them out at the third show as like a statement against cancel culture. And
Yeah,
you
I don't
guys
know
know
what
how I
that
feel
was.
about that whole thing. And I guess Trump was supposed to be there too.
Yeah.
That would have
could've
just been
been.
incredible.
Why
That
didn't he
would've
have a
been
Trump
incredible.
interlude? Why not?
Oh no, that would have. Nah.
And again, this is where he really presses you to a point where you can't separate the art and artist. That
Yeah.
whole discussion that we have there. He had nothing to say about the cancel culture thing either and how it applies to him. And obviously this goes back to his Ye lines too about like Me Too, Russell Simmons, blah, blah, blah. It's just so like shallow and like empty to me and just kind of sounds like this 40-year-old guy being scared and upset about something new and flashy. And I guess obviously now that he's in these right-wing circles too, it fits right up his alley. But that was the most annoying thing about the rollout to me was that whole thing. Like, all right, great. The baby's on your album. He just said all this terrible stuff, and everyone's just supposed to go like, all right, fine. It's all good. Like,
I mean,
you're above criticism. Like, this is the whole cancel thing for me. It's criticism. Everybody's been criticized as long as time. Just because you slapped a new label on it and like, depicted kids doing it rather than older people or publications or whoever did that stuff in the past. It doesn't make it any different to me. If someone said that stuff 5-10 years ago before we even talked about cancel culture, the response would be the same.
I think I'd have to agree with you, but I also think that it's important for people to. The thing I hate about this is that people aren't consistent. So when their own favorite artist does something that is deemed cancelable, they'll find every excuse for it. But then if it's someone they don't like, then it's like, get them out of there, cancel it. And I just think that while I just wish people would be consistent because like the same people who don't like Kanye are listening to Doja Cat, and it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't have a lot of strong thoughts on the Doja Cat thing, but I thought again everything's different,
consistent.
right?
Just
Everything's
be consistent.
different.
I mean,
Well, no, it's not consistent because everything's different. Like Doja did one
at the
thing
end of the
online.
day, she did something that was very wrong, very disrespectful to black people, and she's like literally the only time she started trying to embrace black culture is when black culture could pay her. That's fact.
Yeah,
So
but she
that
wasn't
being said, that's something that's super disrespectful in my opinion, and I feel like that's something that shouldn't have been allowed to happen. But now she's a megastar and she could do whatever she wants and she's uncancelable. So I guess cool. But at the same time, like if you're gonna listen to Doja Cat, then you should be fine listening to Kanye too. Personally, I don't.
You didn't
listen
gatekeep well enough, Nate. This is on you.
I mean, I think that. I mean, I didn't see the podcast going here, but I think that there needs to be a serious conversation amongst Black people about what gatekeeping is and how important it is to the preservation of Black people's culture. Because I think that when you allow so many different entities to be present in Black culture, you start to lose it. And I think that's what we're seeing now with hip hop. And you're seeing everybody wants to go pop and nobody cares about the actual, whether it's lyricism or expressing the opinions of Black people, or like nobody cares about that anymore. It's all about what can make me the most money, who's the most marketable and stuff like that. And we're seeing marketability be put as first priority in front of actual artistry. And I think that's my issue here, going back to the whole Drake and Kanye thing, where
yes.
Kanye's an artist who actually put something out and actually did something original and is being put towards someone who's arguably the most marketable artist in the world. And apparently the person who's the most marketable artist in the world is going to win because of numbers. And it's like, well, there's so much more to that than just okay, well, you sold all this, cool, but how's the music? Where's the progression?
All right,
And when we get into that conversation, then people kind of get silent. So
I'm not gonna absolve Kanye of that just because he might add the better album or better sound. So because he did water down his own art here with the controversy and the very sales-driven campaign.
I mean,
through
but at the same
stadiums
time,
and things
though,
like that.
one thing I will say is I did not care about Donda at all. And then the stadium things happening, and he started making it an actual event, and we literally witnessed an album progress over time with how it got better every single time the listening event. He had a listening event. That's peak music marketability, because at the end of the day, what the focus is still music.
Yeah,
We're
it's more.
still there to listen to the next progression of Donda. And that's completely different from you dropping an album cover that's literally supposed to be a meme and everybody can meme it. Like, that's
I know, but
completely
what
different.
happens when Kanye has again, and how would it be different when Kanye has Marilyn Manson, the baby, and Trump walk out on that front patio at the event there?
I'm not
And
excusing
just
that at
have
all. I think that's terrible too.
again though,
But at
but
the same
Kanye, yes,
time,
Kanye's doing the same
it's
thing
still art,
in a
but it's
different
still
way.
artistry though. Like, that's something that he really believes, and he's trying to make art out of that, versus someone else looking around, seeing what's popular and just doing the popular thing. Like,
You think
there's levels to
Kanye
that.
believes in it? I guess he
Yeah.
does.
It
I
is
guess
so
he
clear
does.
that he does. And it's like, dude, you don't, like, there's so many better things for you to believe in. Like, you can champion so many better causes. Why are you doing this?
Well,
And
Kanye's
I get
believed in
that, but
Kanye's believed in the weaponization of controversy for a long time, I feel like, and that just sort of runs up this alley for him in my mind. I can't tell whether he actually believes and is dedicated to this anti-cancel culture thing and forgiveness and all that, because there's no real commentary on it on the album. It's just those three walking out on a patio. And is he doing it because he believes in the forgiveness of Manson and the baby, or is he doing it because everyone's going to start tweeting about it and going nuts? I tend to think it's the latter one.
Of Manson is in itself.
Kanye doesn't care about Marilyn Manson. All right, let's get on to Drake. Nate hated this record. Me and Lindo liked it. It's enjoyable. I heard a lot of people playing it, and why don't we just start with the lead single? What's gonna win a Grammy, Nate? I hate to tell you, Way Too Sexy with Future. I was in the club.
Gave Macklemore a Grammy over Kendrick Lamar, and we still care what they think.
I was in the club bus.
I don't know how long.
Listen, I said this track was going to be the hot girl summer for men this fall. And I went to the club last week. I finally got to hear it in that environment, and it didn't disappoint. This song is so much fun, and really, lots of this album's really fun. I have my problems with Drake. I don't think there's strong themes, lyrics, or even a performance by Drake on here. But again, you had great features, outstanding beats, and I'd say more than one handful of strong tracks here that had a better flow and was just a little bit more condensed. You guys did kind of school me on the album length, but this one felt more condensed than the Kanye one, which I gave some credit to there.
Halfway through, I wanted it to be over. I could not finish it. I did not feel that way once through listening to Donda the first time, but through listening to Drake the first time, I forced myself to finish it.
And Lindo, you enjoyed it.
Don't ever say my name and then lick your lips like that.
You enjoyed it. That was actually just a dry mouth. That wasn't related. But
look, I liked it. It's fun. I don't listen to all the tracks. I listened to about 4 of the tracks still. It's fun. Nate is a super Drake hater, and I don't like Drake at all, but I was like, something's gonna come out of this.
So let's just go through this. You turn it on, you get into the intro track.
Nope.
You hear that Beatles sample, transition. What?
Terrible.
Oh, come on. Now we know he's a hater.
No, let me explain why. Because
that was some Tuscan
that first
up soul
intro track, the sample is good. The beat is good. But at the same time, my general rule when I'm listening to music and I'm listening to a song is that the beat should never be louder than the artist.
All right, I'll
And
agree
there were
with that.
times where the beat overpowered Drake, and I can't
What
really
was up with
understand.
Drake's energy on this album? He was
Like,
half asleep the whole time.
yeah, like I can't really if I can't really understand what you're saying, I can't call it a good song because like you're trying to rap here and I can't hear you. So that being said, I think that the whole album, okay, it's gonna do its numbers, cool, but I think that there's a lot of points where I could point to where there should have been more attention to detail here that could have made this song better that isn't there. And I think that the intro track is the prime example of that. Because if they turn down the beat and they turn down the sample and then I can actually hear Drake rap, then it's a good track. Great track. But they didn't. And they were working on this for years.
Yeah.
And you still don't have everything perfect in terms of mixing. That's a problem to me.
I think Drake could have some interesting stuff to say too, especially when it comes to his son, when it comes to this feud, when it comes to his life and sort of just his status in the music world.
His cover art, it's son is present.
His son's present, but is he saying anything here? I've been hot since the birth of my son. I remain unfazed. Trust worse has been done. Fuck evaluation. Show me personal funds. It's the pretty boys versus the petty boys.
Did you want Drake
to that already? Got a whole set of toys.
You wanted Drake to turn into Jero the Damager? Like, no, this man's not gonna do any political records.
No, I don't need political.
I mean, you don't have to be political, but give me something versus you recycling the same. I'm in the club. All these girls want me. And trying to be a fake.
And that's the irony of it, right? Else. Like is the only. I
don't like Drake, but if that's working, why would he change it? Why would he work harder?
That's a fair point, but at the same time,
not gonna age well, Lindo.
But that's
can't do this at 40.
But that's my whole. But that's my whole issue.
Now? How is it now? And it's working perfect.
But that's my whole issue. It's that it's so clear. Like it's so clear that it's a numbers game for Drake. That no matter what he drops, is going to go number one.
Bobby, he's 34. It's working perfectly fine.
But in 6 years, you think this is gonna work?
No. Drake. I mean, numbers wise, probably because he has the cheat code, and whatever he drops is going to do amazing numbers. But at the end of the day, when it's time to talk about music and when it's time to talk about actual artistry, when it comes to Drake, you can never have that conversation because everyone's gonna be like, "Well, it's good. It sold 625,000 first week," and it's like, okay, but
you think
let's talk about the actual music.
Lindo, do you think this sells the way it does if it didn't have the features it did? And this is really what I'm going to get to in this.
That point is not relevant to me, honestly, because it did we don't have to play that hypothetical.
I know, but is he going to have that kind of power in 6 years again? I don't know.
If Drake does whatever, it's going to sell. And just so you got I don't know if y'all know, we know a bunch of music journalists. They loved this. Like the ones that we know, in general, they thought it was average, like music journalists. But the ones we know love it. So the idea that he's not going to be able to rock this, for years, no, he will.
The people do love this. Oh my! Like that night out was revelatory last week. Just seeing the pregame, what was being played, what was how people reacted to it. Very satisfied. Everybody loved this. And then the club, Way Too Sexy. And again, I am thrilled with that song. I love that song. I think it's great for the club. But man, people love this. And we see it in the numbers. Didn't he break a record for streaming?
It's always numbers. It's always numbers. Prove my point. But when I point out on the first track that it could have been mixed better, you agreed.
Are you talking to me or Bobby?
Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just more fixated on the lyrics. I love that beat. I love that transition. And
why are you fixated on lyrics from Drake?
Just because I hear them. And I need to do a reaction video to these, especially Drake albums. And who knows when we'll get another at this point, my first listen. Because I hear something like, "You're a lesbian, me too," and I'm just like, what? Did I really just hear him say that? And then later,
Lil Thotty. Ain't no white.
Oh my god! Oh my god! The whole Metro housing thing and that was on Way Too Sexy. If you're really listening to what he's saying on here, it's what is
Why are you really listening?
What is he talking about? And then he had a weird line about his mom later in the album. I don't. And what really got me on these first two tracks is he comes out guns blazing. You say the cover arts, commentary on the pregnancy, and he's still fixated on his son. But he's really not saying anything here. As I go through the lyrics, he's the co-parent of the year. Like, what does that mean? Like, there's just no real commentary on the connection he's forged with his son. Like, what's been revelatory about like that situation? It's sort of like he's still just addressing it because everybody's talking about it, and like he needs to like respond to it in some way. If Pusha never revealed, and I know there was that whole like marketing thing that they were gonna do, but do you really think Drake would have revealed it if Pusha never put it out there, at least urgently? Like, it seemed like he was
I
being
don't think
pretty
so.
patient about it.
I don't think so.
And again, like, you don't have to put your family out
Did
there.
you guys see? Did you guys see Trump's new
Go ahead.
speech? There's nothing in it. There's nothing in his new speech. Oh my God, there's nothing. I don't know why I was looking for something in Trump when I know how his speeches sound, but there was nothing in it. You'd look at me and say, "What are you
man.
What are you talking about?
No.
Why are you looking for something?" I don't look for anything.
No, but
in
it's
Drake or a
but
club
it's not. It's not neutral though, because like there's some stuff that's so bad that just sticks. The whole TSU song, the whole song.
Bobby, what you know about TSU, man? You know about Texas Southern, man?
I just want artists, just like artists to take risks, try to grow as artists. And
But
anything
I
that
do
doesn't
agree
do
with
that is a
Lindo.
disappointment.
You want Drake to take a risk so you can say this sounds stupid as fuck.
Nah, just take a like. If you take a risk and it's not the best thing coming, like the best, it's not the best execution. Then it's like, all right, well, maybe you'll get better at it. But at the same time, if you're just gonna keep making the same thing over and over and over again, it's like, okay, you guys don't really want to listen to music. Y'all just want to listen to the same thing over and over again. Like, you guys care nothing about actual artistry. Insane to me that people can essentially listen to the same song over and over and over again. I get tired. What's the next thing? What's new?
She moved out of state and shit, then went left. She's seeking forgiveness. She used to dance, but she went alone to start up a business. Her daddy is not around. Her mama is not around. I watch her climb to the top of the pole and then get to, I make it rain in this bitch. I make it snow in this bitch. Oh, the lyrics. It's not views bad. Like, the lyrics.
Lindo felt that. Lindo felt that. Oh boy.
The lyrics aren't as bad as they were on views. And again, the features on here are really good. The beats are great. That TSU beat was awesome. I understand why Nima likes that track, but like, and then he comes out on In Too Deep, the next track. And this is the other thing, like, Nate, you talked about this on the beginning of the album, but just the energy by Drake here. Keep the gallery open till 10 for you and your friends. Like, that In Too Deep, like, just from line 1, I'm asleep. Like, and he sounds so weird and nasally, and like, just, he's not a bad singer, but for large stretches of this album, his energy's on 0. He doesn't sound all that enthusiastic. It's like he's just going through the motion. And if you didn't have Future on here going, too sexy for my shirt, like carrying it, there'd be nothing here.
How'd he go again? What did Future do?
Too sexy for the shirt. Oh, that hook is awesome. That song is awesome. Even with Drake talking his nonsense in the beginning. And then you had Young Thug on there too, right?
Honestly, by the time Young Thug came on, I was tired of the song. Young Thug might have had a great verse, but I didn't pay attention to it.
Who produced that? TM88 and Too Dope.
TM88 is a good producer. He's produced better beats. XO Tour Life is better produced beat.
I love that sample. I love that song. I'm going to be listening to Way Too Sexy, and you guys are too, because it's not going anywhere.
I listen to Spotify, so I'm not going to be listening to it.
In the Bible.
I choose my own music.
And this hook too. Where is it? I got to find it. Turn up every day, girl. It don't say that in the Bible.
Amen.
Like, what is this like thing about Drake like looking down on people in their lives? Like, he's like like he's like Kanye turned gospel man. I never understood those kind of like musings from him. And again, it's just a guy that has so little to say, it feels like, even though we should. But good things about this album. I do love that intro beat.
It's Drake.
He should. Poppy's Home.
No.
Is that the best song on the album?
Knife Talk is the best song on the album, and that's because Metro Boomin produced it, and Project Pat is on it, and 21 Savage
right, so
actually tried to be an artist.
let me rephrase it. Drake's best performance, Drake's best song in the album, because that if that
I
Into
couldn't
Deep.
tell you.
Into Deep.
I couldn't tell you.
no, he comes. Leave
I
the
wasn't in love
gallery
with him
open
anyway.
till 10. All right, the second half, but the first half,
Who
like
cares
he just
You
sounds
see how
like
Bobby moves the goalpost to be right?
no, but I can't get to the second half of the song. Like I said,
How
that
you even
first
know?
line, leave the gallery open till 10 for you and your friends.
Bobby, you hate Bobby's so confused. He has no,
No,
idea
I'm
what
not.
really
I like
happened.
this album.
He has no clue.
I like this album, but there's just so much to nitpick when it comes to Drake. It could be so much better. The beats and the features, it's all here, and he just had to come through with something to say, some energy.
I think the beats could have been better, to be honest.
Oh man, that's hate.
Nah, I think the beats were awesome.
Nah.
Love All, that was like
I feel like
again,
I feel like at least when he tried to get some of the trap beats, I feel like the melody, like it was just hi-hats over a basic repeating melody, and it was like, okay, what else is gonna make me want to
he
like
was
this beat?
rekindling some like pound cake, like energy on Love All, and Champagne Poetry brought me back to Tuscan Leather.
Like
You had
the
Yebba's
complexity.
you had Yebba's Heartbreak, which I thought had like that nice, and again, Drake does have a style. I know he did like the Afro beats thing with Fountain, with Thames on Fountains, and like that was really the only moment on here that I feel like he had to go do like some other style and try it out. But he does kind of stick to like that, like piano heavy, like chop soul, like synth style that he had on Nothing Was the Same and Take Care. Like that's Drake's style. That's what if he sticks to
How
it.
old is that though?
It's old, but it's him. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather hear him do that than try every style in
I
the
mean,
industry like he did on
I
Views.
feel you, but at the same time, modernize it, because these
You
are
only
all
live
beats.
twice.
Like these are all beats that could have been on Nothing Was the Same or Take Care or whatever, and it would have been perfectly fine. Like what makes me feel like this is the 2021 version of Take Care or Nothing Was
That's
the Same?
fair, but I'd rather
That's why the
listen to
beats
him.
that's why the beats are bad in my opinion, because they're not. There's nothing about them that makes me feel like, oh, so this is how Drake's sound has progressed from that to now in 2021. There's nothing about it there. There's no
But
progression.
I'd rather listen to him do what made me like him, and I think made a lot of people, start to like his music way back when,
Don't
than
be a victim of nostalgia.
trying to be WizKid. Like you'd rather really hear him try like drill and
No, you don't.
Afro beats and all
You
this
said
different kind of
drill?
stuff. You get what was that song War off
Oh yeah, that was
demo
bad.
tapes?
Yeah, that
That
was
was
bad.
horrible.
No, I mean, I guess
I'd
if I
rather
had
hear
to,
him do what's him.
I guess if I had to pick one, I guess yes, I agree with you, Bobby. But at the same time, that is also super unimpressive to me when it hasn't grown in the past. We're 9, 8 years.
I know, but is every artist gonna advance? Like I'd rather just hear him
I
like
mean, if you're
stay.
going to sell as much as you do and you're supposed to be the top of music or whatever, you better advance. Earn that. That's how you earn it.
I think thematically, thematically and lyric wise, he's got to advance. But in terms of the sounds, I think the sounds were on point.
I could genuinely right now make an argument that Kendrick has 3 classics and none of them sound the same. That's advancing. That's artistry.
Well, none of these people in Kendrick's league. I mean, he was just watching this, laughing. This whole thing we're talking about here. What do you think of his envelopment? And it's so funny to me that he says he's unfazed to open this out because he's clearly completely phased by the whole Kanye thing. I did like the line about the address, plug it in your phone and show up. I thought that was nice and chippy and got to something stupid that Kanye did throughout this whole thing, but he does kind of seem enveloped in this feud and unable to get away from it. He's been talking about it since Scorpion pretty much. And to see him kind of back out of that feud with Pusha T the way he did and then jump back into a feud here with diss lines and stuff like that.
I mean, my whole thing is that if you want to, why are you still dissing them when the actual diss tracks were flowing and you backed away? That doesn't make any sense to me.
That's where
Like
I'm at with that one.
there's no win in that situation for you. not like, okay, you're gonna have that many subtle disses where we're suddenly gonna forget one of the best rap diss lines of all time. You were hiding a child. Like, we're never gonna forget that. So I personally think that Drake should drop it and just take his L, because
No mention of Pusha T on here, of course. It's
Why
got to
would
go
he?
at Kanye, because Kanye's not going to say much. I mean, did he say anything about Drake on Donda?
I don't believe so.
I mean, up
But
and
I could
down,
be
Drake.
wrong. It's an hour and however long. It's an hour and 38, hour 48 minutes long. I don't remember everything that he said on that.
Drake's talking up and down about Kanye on this thing. The cover art's stupid. We don't even
And
need to get into
then
that.
Drake dropped the leaked that song with Kanye and Andre 3000, and then people ended up liking that more than both albums, which was a
I
massive
know.
L. What's the point of leaking a diss song? Why would you leak a diss song towards yourself? Unless it's bad. But
I don't know.
three
And
stacks
then
is
you
on it.
obviously you pissed off Andre, which
They
is
didn't
like
like the
great.
CDs in the dough.
Yeah, you pissed off Andre, so good job with that. I thought something Fantano said that stuck out to me too about this is that like Kanye made an album that's
Fantano.
gonna stand. No, and this is true. I think you'll agree with this. Kanye's album thematically is gonna stand the test of time. Like you'll be able to listen to that years from now, and the themes will be valid. And you're gonna listen to this Drake album years from now and be like, do I really want to listen about this stupid Kanye Drake feud from 2021? Like it's all just gonna go dry so fast with Drake. Like,
I
and I
agree.
don't listen to More Life anymore. I never listen to Views again.
I'm
Demo tape stinks.
I'm interested, since everything with Drake is about numbers, I'm interested to see what the second week numbers look like. Because again, from the first day of streams to the second day of streams, he dropped massively because people were not listening to him as much on the second day. So
That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm interested to see.
It was something about the release date. I thought you're going from Friday to Saturday rather than Sunday to Monday like Kanye was, which was different. But
That doesn't make sense to me though, because if you're going from Friday to Saturday, your numbers should increase because people would be out like partying or doing whatever. Like
I
if your
know, but
album's
most
good and they
people
listen to it on Friday, and also people like me didn't even listen to it on Friday. I listened to it on Saturday. So there's gonna be people from hearsay. There's gonna be people who haven't checked it out and want to listen to it again. Like either people want to listen to it again or people who haven't checked it out and will listen to it. So ideally, just by logic, the numbers should go up on a Saturday compared to a Friday.
I want to hit on the features on here real quick too. Lil Baby's awesome. I know you want to talk about him a little bit, Nate. Probably like he just keeps getting better and better. And of course, he got put on this track on this album with the Drake lesbian line that just turned everybody off instantly. Drake's half-ass performance, really, and then Lil Baby just comes out in the second half tearing it up. And
Wait,
like
how are
kind
you
of
saying
just
this album's good, but at the same time you could point to tracks and say it's half-ass?
No, I'm saying Drake's performance was half-assed. The things I think make the sound good are the sounds, the features, and I thought it flowed fairly well, better than Kanye's.
But wouldn't that be? But if it's supposed to be a Drake album and the things that you point to as highlights aren't Drake, isn't that a bad album?
Hey, the highlights on Kanye's album weren't Kanye, were they?
Yes, they
You
were,
like
because he
that
was
one.
producing. He was involved in all the production. So even if I didn't like his verses,
I know,
and
but that's
enjoyed
an
the beat,
unfair standard. Not everybody's producing and rapping.
that's the difference between an artist and a rapper.
Fair enough. And I don't think anyone thinks Drake's better than Kanye if we're looking at the whole package here. It's not even close. But the fact that it's close now
I had someone
is
try to
kind of
tell
an
me
indictment on Kanye.
I had someone try to tell me that Views is the classic. They're delusional.
No, Drake doesn't have a classic.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of delusional people out there that think that Drake is actually better than Kanye in terms of artistry.
Maybe. But no, my point is, we're talking about Kanye and Drake in the same sentence here. If this was 2010, we're not talking about a Drake album and a Kanye album in the same podcast.
The only reason why we're talking about Drake and Kanye in the same sentence is because they're beefing, one, and two, because Drake puts up the most impressive numbers in music. That's the only reason why.
Well, you really didn't like this Drake album, but as far as most people I'm seeing in terms of their reaction to this, not the same. 6.5, 7.
That's terrible. You're supposed to be the biggest artist in music, and the best you could give me is a 6 or a 7. That's terrible.
Well, that's bad for Kanye too, in my mind.
That's fair. But at the same time,
here we are.
Yeah,
Here we
that's-
are. Like I almost feel hypocritical about it because this is my big point out of this. Is like we just ate up this atmosphere of these two for 2 months for this. 2 just half-baked albums carried by features that just poured money into the beats to sound good and had 2 frontmen here who were just kind of mailing it in terms of their performances.
That's not because Kanye's producing the beats. We enjoy the beats.
Kanye was never an
has to
all-world
count.
rapper, but man, like you look back at My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, even Yeezus, there was some energy, there was some charisma, there was some
I am
bars
not
there.
disagreeing with you.
Hey, The Life of Pablo had one of his best verses ever.
All I'm saying is that when you're saying that they put all the money into the beats to make the album sound good, Kanye's actually on the beats making them versus Drake paying for them. Those are 2 different ballparks.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's
That
got
needs to
that
be acknowledged.
collaboration with 40 that goes way back. That's still there, and that's still authentic to him, I feel like. But yeah, no, again, and that's what kind of separates Kanye from Drake, what you're talking about there. And no one here is going to make the case for Drake overall against Kanye, but right now it's closer than it should be, and that's a problem for Kanye in my mind.
I don't think it is, but
There's no issues for Kanye.
yeah.
All right, Kanye West, another album in the books. Drake, best album probably since the early ones in my mind, but again, the bar was pretty low there. So
the bar is low, and you're talking about people are satisfied, and it's somehow a good album. If people are satisfied with the bar being low, come on, guys.
Future,
Context, guys. Context.
Future, Yebba, 21 Savage, features all came through on here. Thames was awesome. Ty Dolla $ign, Rick Ross, man. Oh my God, he's performing in Boston on Friday, and I'm gonna miss it on this graduation stuff. That guy, when we talk about best rappers of the last 10, 20 years here, he's gonna have to be up there. I mean, wasn't he in a world of his own with that verse on this album?
He dropped
he's
Castro
great.
line, so he's not a fan.
What would you say?
He dropped the anti-Fidel Castro line, so
In
my book.
He did shout out Obamacare though.
I mean, just looking at, I have to think about it more, but I know for sure he's going to be top 20.
Oh, he is awesome. I wish I was seeing him
top
this
20.
weekend. I love seeing Kid Cudi on here too, and to dominate a track next to Drake. Big feather in his cap. He's had a great year. Years ago, he was kind of fading from relevancy as he was going through depression and everything that he was. So I'm thrilled that he's as relevant as ever now, in movies and TV shows too.
Do you still think that Kid Cudi is better than Lupe Fiasco at rapping?
No, Kid Cudi's, and that's just something I've noticed with him now too, is he's kind of moved towards singing and like, just sort of like, I don't know what you would call it, like just sort of flowing the way some of these new artists do.
One of our first arguments, Kid Cudi versus Lupe Fiasco, and I was trying to tell you that Kid Cudi is not close to Lupe Fiasco when it comes to bars.
No, Kid Cudi's got a strong sort of morph between singing and flowing at this point. You don't really hear him rap bars like structurally like he did early in his career, which fits him better. Like he was sort of always
the singing does fit him better.
Yeah, he was always a vibes artist. Like he would just bring vibes to a track, even if he just hums on a track like he did on Waves on that Kanye album way back when. Like it brings something to the table. He's just got energy that he brings, and we'll have to go see a show of him eventually, Nate. You would really enjoy that.
I mean, I like Kid Cudi. I appreciate what he's done for hip hop and how he's inspired people like Travis Scott, amongst others.
Oh, he inspired Drake big time.
Yeah, like he's inspired. Like he's definitely a legend and probably belongs in the same ballpark as Young Thug, Future, Chief Keef in terms of inspiring the next generation. Like I don't dismiss his contribution to hip hop at all. Like he's a legend in my opinion.
Kid Cudi.
He's a legend.
Yeah. Look at what he inspired. Like, there's different types of legends. Chief Keef is a legend.
We have run out of time.
Same thing.
We have run out of time here in Dome Theory. Nate, Lindo, great conversation. Look at Lindo's beard. It's coming in the form. Had to shout that out here. Looking good out there, Lindo, in Texas. You're going up. All right, we'll be back with some more NBA talk in the coming weeks. Training camp is just a couple weeks away. Nate's excited about his Bulls. Lindo is trying to figure out his Lakers.
Nobody's trying to figure out the Lakers. The Lakers will be perfectly fine, and they're probably
perfectly fine.
Team, baby.
We'll see. It'll be fun. They'll be fun to follow. I'm excited to watch them.
Did you watch
So-
that video I sent in the group chat, Bobby?
I don't watch anything you send.
Bobby's been
We'll
asking
talk about-
questions about Russell Westbrook for months, and I finally find a clip that will perfectly explain it to him, and he hasn't watched it. Shocker.
We'll talk about it next time. Nate Spurlin, check out the cab. Lindo Zay, you'll hear from him more here as well into the season. Dome Theory, and use the code NFL100 at betonline.ag. We'll see you next week.